Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Howdy, 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 and konnichiwa. Welcome to the iGPFun Formula 3 series presented by SRP. We are here at Fuji Speedway. I'm Austin. I'm joined by Sebastian Bosher-Williams with Mark Tranter in the production booth. You're here live watching Apex Racing TV.
You certainly are. Good evening to everybody at home tuning in for what is promised to be another barnstorming iGPFun race. What a race we had 1 week ago at Watkins Glen, and what drama, Austin, we have had since. You know, if anybody's been keeping an eye on the Discord, you'll know that that race certainly did not end when the checkered flag flew.
Yeah, that race definitely had a lot of things going on with it, and it was exciting last week, and it's going to be even more exciting this week. It's a new track here, certainly a massively long straightaway. And, you know, I have a feeling this race is going to be a very, very entertaining one.
Yeah, it certainly will be. And, yeah, as you mentioned, we've got this super long straight, and then it leads into a really tight turn one. But, you know, I've been talking to some of the drivers, both in this and other series as well, that are racing at Fuji for the first time. And there's a real split on where or what direction you want to take your setup, whether you want to go sort of for a lower downforce setup and gain that advantage on the straight, or whether you need more downforce to sort of manage the final sector. So it's going to be really interesting. And then sort of to add to all of that, Austin, some drivers are even doubting whether they can get to the end of the race on their tyres, because the tyre wear around here is pretty bad, at least for some of the drivers. So I mean, this one is going to just be absolutely crazy. And, you know, we always say it, and I always say it, but especially with iGPFun, stick around until the final lap.
Yeah, you never know what's going to happen at the end of this race. It might be the second time we're seeing drivers dive into the pits for tires. Maybe just be rear tires here. Or it may be all four midway through the race. We never know. And the trick to gaining lap time around Fuji, that final sector, coming out of the Dunlop corner, heading into Nets and Panasonic corner. Panasonic corner is like the key corner around here to getting a good lap time, especially in racing conditions. If you go wide at the corner entry and then chop that inside, just focusing everything on exit, you're going to have a very fast time through there. But you're going to be giving yourself up if you're in a fight to somebody going down to the inside. And we might see that come into play in the final laps if this goes into a very tightly fought battle near the end of the race.
Certainly will, and sort of I think it's going to be almost like an oval sort of NASCAR race. You know, it's all about the slipstream around here. So you almost want to be in second or even third place heading into the final lap if the pack's really tight. Because I think from there you've got the best opportunity to use that slipstream and sort of gain the lead, you know, in sort of the dying seconds of the race. It's just going to be super fascinating. And, you know, for us, it's my first commentary at Fuji, and I cannot wait to get it underway.
And speaking of NASCAR, well, this Fuji Speedway, when it originally opened, had a massive banked corner, a massively banked turn one, and they did host, I believe they did have a stock car race here before on that very old course. Now that old course is no longer to be there. The only remains of that old course are the entire turn one and anything after the Coca-Cola corner going all the way to Dunlop corner.
Yeah, sorry, I was a little bit distracted there, Austin, so I didn't quite catch your question, but I think it's the perfect time to mention, Austin, iGPFun-F's new sponsor for this week.
Yes, SRP pedals.
SRP pedals proudly sponsoring for the iGPFun series from here on out, and you can go and check out their website. So I just try to find all of the information about it, and hopefully, actually, while we find that, I will take you through the grid. Yeah, so Tobias Olsen starts from pole position, Giuseppe Faro alongside him, Alistair Hay in third with Sam Herbert in fourth place, Jerome Lamy fifth with Alessandro Romanili in sixth place, while McIntyre Jones, fresh after getting married, is in seventh place with Evan Way eighth, Luca Varani in ninth and Gavin Petty 10th. Darren Rowlandson is 11th place with Lucas Maruk in 12th, and Lucas has got some support in the YouTube chat. Clark Williams is 13th, Stephen Ridders 14th, Andy Flint 15th, Robert Ridgway in 16th, Tony Jimenez 17th, Adam Talisman 18th, Richard Van Veen 19th, Rafael Munza 20th, Zoltan Zomota is 21st, Simone Gabriel 22nd, Simone Fessy 23rd, Stuart Mill 24th, Ben White 25th, John S. McKenzie 26th, Joris Blom in 27th, Reed Dennis 28th, Mohamed Boulish 29th, and and Ben Guetti in 30th. And then we have down the order, we have Franchetti, Matt Brewer, Matthew Garcia, Victor Barris, James Thrulis, Giovanni Stiletto, Martin Devine, Patrick Rowlands, Colin Nicol, Graham Nicol, Dahan Ehel, Chris Leckie, and Noel Richie Robinson, rounding out your 43-car grid, Austin. And wow, 43 cars around Fuji can only end in some spectacular racing.
Yeah, spectacular racing all planned for here today as we are all lined up and getting ready to rock and roll. 43 cars are prepared here at Fuji, and it's time to let them here and let them go wild heading into turn one. As we are waiting for the 5 red lights, it's time to go green here at Fuji. And it's a fantastic start by Tobias Olsen, leaping into the leads. Not the best start for Alistair Hay, falling back 2-3 spots right there, as that is Faro jumping Hay and diving into turn one. Samuel Herbert going down to the inside, pushing Hay down into fourth. Herbert taking third place right there as they head through the first 2 corners right now. Everybody's spreading out, just trying to find a good enough run as they head into the Coca-Cola corner. It's Olsen, Faro, Herbert, Hay, Alessandro, Lamley, Way, Jones, Varani, and Gavin Petty, your top 10 right now. You can see them 2-3 wide heading through Coca-Cola corner. It's such a fast corner, but here is one of the really hard corners, 300R. It's very long. We got a car spinning. That's Luca Varani off at the hairpin right there. He was sliding sideways right there as there was a little bit of car contact heading into the hairpin as they race into 100R right now and heading up into the first time through Dunlop corner. Aero watch is going to be very tricky right now, and especially getting that car slowed down, especially in these earlier parts. They're side by side through that first part. Avoid these yellow curves unless you want to pay for your suspension braking after this race, because that will certainly kill your suspension and your car's aerodynamics. As you can see, everybody going side by side through there. Simon Fessy with the world's greatest driver photo just battling it out with Richard Van Veen. Uses the switchback, getting the speed off the exit. He's now set up for the outside line right here through Panasonic corner. He's going wide. He's going to try to maximize that exit, but Richard Van Veen was right there, but he's out wide. Van Veen kept it inside, and now it's trying to let these cars fly down the straightaway, drag racing style here at Fuji. And one car going into the pits already. That is Luca Varani with damage.
Yeah, not surprised that Varani has to sort of pulling to the pits after that spin, and I think I saw a little bit of contact there. Faro and Hermer, though, battling it out on the straight as we watch this battle between Simone and Fessis. There's somebody off the road into turn one. That's Richard Van Veen failing to make the apex, but it's such a long race around here. We're expecting like a 50-minute or so race, so you know, it's almost like an endurance race for these Formula 3 cars. So while other tracks, you know, you'd be ruining making a mistake this early, I think Richard Van Veen has got enough time to be able to come back through the field once again. But
look at the gap that Olsen has.
I was just about to point that out, Austin. It's super. I mean, almost 2 seconds. He hasn't even done 2 laps yet.
He's cleared the. I think he's cleared the draft. Honestly, looking, I think the fight between Faro and Herbert through that final sector just allowed Olsen to run away right there and clear himself of any opportunities for these two to really chase him down. But Faro and Herbert, we both know on how fast that these two guys go. If they start working together, they can chase down Olsen. It's just that they have to maximize these corners, maybe work together on the straightaway, and just share that draft at times, because that is certainly what's going to help them around this race, as everybody is just taking a much clearer fight right now at the front of this grid.
Yeah, coming across the line to start lap number 3. Let's see if Sam Hermer can get past Giuseppe, or if he is, as you were saying, Austin, just going to work together down the field. We have Clark Williams on the back of Stephen Ridders. He make it past, but of course you now got the issue where somebody else pulling into the pits. You've got the issue of you know, drivers just, you know, you're in a slipstream train. You hear a lot about it, you know, when you hear, you know, if you watch a Formula 1 race, a DRS train, well, it's just as bad here. We've got slipstream trains, and, you know, you can't really get the overspeed on the driver ahead if they're also in the slipstream. So it's going to be really tricky for these drivers side by side through turn 1, though lockups are plenty, and these drivers are going to have to be thinking about their tyre wear. They cannot afford to lock up the brakes. They cannot afford to be a little bit lead-footed on throttle and spin the rears, because they have to preserve these tyres if they want any chance of getting to the end.
Yeah, it's tire conserving is going to be very huge right here, especially through that final sector. A lot of aero wash is definitely not helping it at all. And if you're side by side with another driver, you're going to be putting a lot of stress on these tires throughout the race. And everybody here is, I think, has that in mind, especially if you're behind another car. They aren't going to be racing them. The only time that they're probably going to look for an overtake is probably on that straightaway. But it's going to be very, very important just to keep the car clean right now and just make use of these tires to the very end and make sure that they stay alive, or else it's going to be a very bad time at the end of this race. And some of these drivers might be under-driving the car, honestly, to keep these tires alive. And we were given that notice, and this might be a longer race than usual because of, A, how long it is with lap distance, and B, just how slow everybody's going to go just to try to save on the tires. So we get a beautiful shot down that front straightaway. You can see the massive line of cars and how spread out we are right now.
Yeah, I'm surprised at how far the field is spread out already. You know, we talk about field spread, and it's one of the biggest field spread that we've seen so far.
Oh, this is tasty.
3 wide.
3 wide down the inside. Reed Dennis overshoots the corner and into the ground jump and into the wall. Reed Dennis. Oh, that is unfortunate for the Texan right there.
Yeah, just super committed to the apex of turn 1 and just didn't get it slowed down. And you can just see how little grip there is outside of turn 1. You've got that little bit of runoff area, but it's not used. It's just gravel. It's nothing. It's got no grip to it. It's not like the race surface where it's got rubber on. So yeah, as soon as you hit that, you're really on a one-way ticket to the wall. And if anybody was behind him and saw, you know, how little grip there was outside, I think it's going to give them pause for thought about making a move into turn 1, because that went from bad to worse for Reed Dennis. But while we were sort of last lap, sort of looking at the other cars, I noticed that we had both Matthew Gracie and Andy Flint having some form of incidents out there. So, you know, the drivers that are so good and we know are so consistent and quick are really struggling out there. So this could be a race where, you know, you've just got to be super consistent, and I think it's going to throw up some surprises.
Yeah, Matthew Gracie, that incident actually brought him into the pit lane. Andy Flint is still out there right now, but he's fallen all the way down to 28th place. So it's definitely not the best race so far for Andy Flint, as we have an overtake for 4th place for Molly and Hay swapping spots right there, Talisma and Jimenez. But here is Alessandro right now holding off Hay as they are racing through 300R, and I've been doing some lap guides around in the TCR. 300R is such a tricky corner to get right. It's much easier, but you see, oh, Romani, he actually put that yellow piece of curb right there, and there goes Hay swooping it up onto the inside, now onto the outside of 100R. They're going to be side by side right now as they are having a little bit of drag race. This might be Jerome Landley trying to make this 3 wide as they head onto the brakes, slam onto the brakes, heading into Dunlop corner. Romani's got the inside, but now Hayes got the inside, but then it's back to Alessandro having the inside. Landley's got the switchback right now. Landley down to the inside of Hay. Hay and Landley going side by side. Here comes Jerome Landley getting an extra bit of speed. He clears Hay right now as they head up into Nets corner. And it's a left-hander getting all over the curb right there for Jerome Landley as they take that wide entry into Panasonic corner. And that final run out, watch your washout up there. Big slide by Landley. He's going to fall back from the pace. He's going to be getting that back with the traffic. They're driving all the way down, snaking down the front straightaway. Everybody going all the way towards the pit wall right there. Just defending, hard defending by Alessandro. We can see all the dust being kicked up right there. Dust being kicked up, and everybody just maximizing the track. Jerome Landley, though, getting 4th place, but he's let the door open down to the inside. Alessandro trying to send it down there for 5th. Landley goes wide, gets an off track for that, heading for turn 2. And Alessandro, I think he's just feeling a little bit feisty right now because this fight for 4th is absolutely mind-blowingly awesome right now.
It's just like the track. It is completely and utterly awesome. Jerome Landley got the better of the field so far, and now it's crucial. Can he pull away in this twisty, tight middle and final sector, or will he be under threat as we head towards turn 1 once again? This is Mohamed Boujlaj in the number 43, trying to catch Goyet, the number in 29th place. The Swiss German trying to catch up to the Canadian. Very, very wide though for Ben in the car, just really going to show how difficult these cars are to drive at the moment. And while this is going on, we've got Stiletto in the background, just looming large, getting ready to sort of
it's going to get tasty.
Here
comes Mohamed around the outside, and
not going to make it.
Oh, he's overcooked it on the brakes. Gillette let him by, and Mohamed locked it up and went wide, and he's actually lost the position right there. Oh, that is so unfortunate. I don't think he actually let him by. I think Mohamed just sent it into the corner, and it was just a little bit too little, or very little, and very late on the brakes right there. Locked up and spun the car sideways. As this is the fight between Evan Way and Way picking out the back end right there, and McIntyre Jones, the newlywed, down to the inside. And up into 7th, but he's got Way on his inside, but he's cleared him heading into Coca-Cola corner.
Gavin Petty's getting interested in the background. He wants past Evan Way ASAP, and actually Way's very wide now through 100R. That's allowing Gavin Petty just 300R. Did I say? Damn it! I'll get these coordinates
300
right.
is before 100 for some reason.
Oh, my track map is wrong. Then do apologise. So yeah, as we head towards this, must be 100R. Good old corner names, Japanese corner names. Honestly, some of my favourite. Evan Way though under pressure, but Gavin Petty's the one to lock up those rear tyres.
Actually, no, you're right. I'm wrong.
Oh, can we clip that? Because Austin's always right. So it's always nice to get that confirmed sometimes that I could be right too. Evan Way though really struggling on his tyres, and we noticed when we were on board with Jerome Landley earlier on, he had that massive slide coming out of the final corner, turn 16, and you cannot afford to do that whatsoever. And Jerome Landley is now going to be carrying that build-up of temperature, that build-up of tyre wear through the entire race, and that moment could come back to haunt him in sort of 20, 25, even sort of 40 minutes from now. Yeah,
40 minutes from now, this could be a completely different race between these two. as Way, he does have that gap to Petty right there, so Petty's unable to gain that time on him, but we do have a battle right now. Simone Fessy down to the inside, side by side with White they go, and Fessy's pretty much clear to White right now. He's leaving the space on the outside to prevent White swinging it back down to the inside, but he squeezed him a lot, closing the door for White to swing it around the outside and challenge him on the brakes. As Fessy holds 23rd place right now. New fastest lap for race was set by Tobias Olsen with a 1:32.97. I'm surprised that he's setting the fastest lap right there because he's not being helped by the draft in any single way, but he's also not being hurt by the dirty air. And oh, big slide by Olsen through the corners heading into next corner, and Hay has had an issue. Alistair Hay is tumbling down the order and into the pit lane. What has happened to Alistair Hay?
Ravanelli as well has had some form of issue out there, so major drama so far. And let's have a look. This is what happened to Alistair Hay. So he's battling the number 19 car. That's Ravanelli heading to the chicane, and so easily done. So easily done here.
He thought he cleared him heading through the corner so he could try to clear the space. Unfortunately, there's a car right there, and you always got to lead the space.
Certainly do, and yeah, that's really disappointing. That'll be
Molly heading into the pits as well.
I think he's both picked up damage, and the problem that the drivers are going to have around here is because the straight is so long, any form of damage that you pick up, even if it's a small dent in the wing,
it's going to be killer.
It's going to be killer, and actually I think you're going to lose less time if you come into the pits. And you know, the drivers were discussing in the group chat before the race, you know, what the optimal strategy is looking like. And they were saying, you know, well, it's so long, it takes such a long time to pit here because the straight is so long and you're going at such a high speed when on the racing line that, you know, it's really not a good idea to pit because you're going to lose so much time. But I even think with how long the pit is around here that if you've got some damage, it is worth coming in, repairing that, because you are going to lose so much time.
And if everybody heads into the pits anyways to try to gamble with a new set of tires, you might make up that time right there. There's a beautiful side-by-side battle right now heading with Joris Bloom, holding it down to the inside as I go through 100R. As it's side-by-side of Victor Barris. Barris onto the inside. Barris going all the way down to the inside. He's going to go 3 wide right now, heading to the Dunlop corner. Barris 3 wide, and how they've gone through there. But getting onto the grass, the pass into the grass by Joris Bloom. He went wide through Dunlop, cut it through the grass right there, and got ahead of Simone Fessy. The pass in the grass by Joris Bloom. What a beautiful move coming out of Dunlop corner. Almost Graham Rahal-esque.
I mean, he was on the grass. Superb driving, superb car control from Joris Blom there. I mean, incredible driving.
Rahal-esque, not Graham Rahal.
Yeah, I'm going to leave you to the IndyCar quote, Austin. I think I'm much of an authority on that. It's down the inside. Darren Rowlandson goes on Gabrielle, making that look very easy. And that's sort of the moves we're going to see at turn 1, but it just sort of, you know, allows Gabrielle just to sort of, sorry, no, that's Rowlandson and Williams, do apologise. So that's Williams getting past Rowlandson. But yeah, I think we're going to see quite a lot of that through the race. And I wouldn't be surprised if Darren Rowlandson fancies his chances coming into turn 1 next time around. And you know, you can use that. It's sort of like oval NASCAR strategy, but you can sort of use that to catch up to other people. It's just sort of, you know, one of you takes the slipstream and gains that advantage and overtakes, and then you do the opposite on the next lap. And you can gain a lot of time. And, you know, you can see that, you know, with some drivers maybe trying to catch the pack up ahead. But, I mean, Olsen doesn't have any form of threat of that because, you know, Farah and Hermer are about, you know, a second and a half separated from each other. So, I mean, Olsen at the moment is just in a league of his own.
Yeah, Olsen is flying away right now, and the only hope that anybody has of catching Olsen is if his tires go out and he has a massive issue right there, because it's his race to lose right now, as Andy Flint in that tactical tractor right there is chasing down Ben White.
Yeah, and Andy Flint, of course, had that issue, didn't he, earlier on? Doesn't look like he's picked up any damage. We've seen many of the drivers that have had sort of any form of spins or any sort of drama come into the pits, but I don't think Flint has been in. No, he hasn't. So let's hope for his sake that his car is all okay. On the back of Ben White as we head now side by side, looking for the inside move into turn 1. Andy Flynn got the upper hand, you have to say. How brave is White feeling? And he's just going to let that one go. Lock up from the car ahead. That's Blom at the wheel of that car. And once again, more and more drivers locking up. And I wonder, Austin, are we going to see, we're a third of the way through the race, so I think it's a little bit early, but do we think that some drivers are going to chance a pit stop, come in, get a set of tyres, and just see if that can help them at all?
I don't know. I don't have a magic 8-ball next to me. And we got one car. That is the 41 of Simone Fessy going out wide, still battling with Bloom right there, coming out of 100R, heading into 300R right now, and heading into Dunlop corner. Simone Fessy, after getting the pass in the grass, he's going to go onto the outside right there at Dunlop corner. They're going to go side by side, trying to go for the switch back, but it's just cleared by Bloom right there. But Bloom stepping out just a little bit. Simon, he could go for a different line opportunity, heading through Net's corner, just take it out wide on the entry, and then very chop it narrow right there. But these Formula 3 cars, they can just go through here at such a high speed. It's less beneficial for them compared to slower classes cars and slower vehicles with less downforce. But yeah, this group battling out for, I think that is Victor Barris leading this pack. The battle for 17th is very tight. They're kind of spread out, going down to the inside. He goes Bloom, Simone Fessy goes even deeper onto the inside, deep onto the brake. Simone Fessy up into 19th.
Great move by Simone Fessy. We don't normally see him sort of down the order in 19th place. He's normally much higher, so he is on his comeback. Next up is Stuart Mill. There is a car going slowly in the background. I think that might be a back marker though, but
I think that's Gracie. I'm not 100% sure.
It's always a bit nerve-wracking for us commentators when you see a car going slow off the racing line, but all's looking good. Rowlandson looking at Clark Williams, trying to get down the inside. Gabriel getting past Jimenez. So action down the order as well. But you have to think now, I think drivers have just got to start managing their tyres, managing quite almost everything, because Stuart Mill and Simone Fessy get very close. Oh, and there's almost contact. Is there contact in the background?
Yeah, there's contact. There's definitely contact right now. Car flying into the air. That was Bloom and Fessy. Fessy hit the curb on the inside, and Bloom went tumbling end over end and through the sky. They collected a back marker. I think that was Andy Flint, the one that was innocent bystander in all of that. 3-car contact coming out of the Dunlop corner. Massive incident right there. And this is what happened to Andy Flint. Andy Flint's at the back of all this, and you can see up ahead, Simone Fessy just gets a little bump from Bloom, and then Bloom gets onto the back of Fessy, and then Bloom goes airborne and into the wall, and Andy Flint's just stuck there in a second incident, and probably has flipped the table or something, because that is a very unfortunate race for Andy Flint. Second and definitely out of this race.
And nothing he could have done there, just as you said, an innocent bystander. You know, we hadn't seen what happened to him for his first incident, and it could have been his fault, but you know, the incident that ultimately ended his day certainly did not look like that at all. So, yeah, heartfelt sympathies towards Andy Flint. We have Stuart Mill now, car number 49, chasing down Ben White. I mean, they're both up. I mean, Victor Barris, who's just ahead of this fight, is up some 17 positions. Ben White is actually up 7, and Stuart Mill himself up 5. So, great job by all of these drivers, and we always tend to see that in the iGPFun series. All the drivers, you know, maybe not good or the best qualifiers, because there are some absolutely rapid drivers in the series, but their racecraft is just on another level, and they can just extend it. So that's another car, I think, getting out of the way. Oh, and there's a spin. That's
unfortunate spin.
Zamota, I think. Oh, was he put off by that back marker?
I think he was. I think he was. He might have tapped on the brakes or something, and just the car caught right there. As coming out of the pits is Colin Nickel. He had an earlier incident, but this is what happened. Let's ride on board of Zoltan Zomotor heading in there. We see the lapped car, and it's just parked right there. And okay, I can definitely see why he would have been off put right there. The lapped car just staying on the track right there. You got miles of runoff for that lapped car. If I was a lap car, I would just go off the track right there and make it know that I'm going off the track, so I don't have that issue of staying on the track. And unfortunate spin for Zoltan Zomotor, as he has just been overtaken by Frankie.
Yeah, no, I think what we're going to see is that the motor, after having that spin, his tyres are going to be in a really poor state at the moment, and I think that's why that the back marker didn't decide just to drive off the track, because tyres are such a big issue here, and I know how much everybody in the YouTube chat loves a little bit of tyre talk, but it's so true. That's very deep there from the number 17 car. Manages to collect up all of the understeer, but that's really allowed. That's Ridders just onto the back of him. Rolandson as well, looking large in the mirrors once again in this battle. And you don't want to be really stuck in these sort of battles. Is once again the 17 wide. He is struggling so much out there at the moment.
That's defended the line right there, but looking down, that's Rolandson going down to the inside, and that is very bad move for Rolandson because that's going to slow him down the straightaway. But it's created a gap to Ritters right now as we have drivers just trying to get into the draft of the lead car, but they're side by side in the background, and we kind of got like a pyramid-shaped Mighty Ducks formation going on right now. So 3 wide behind the 2 wide, going 1 wide. And it's a drag race down the straightaway. Deep onto the brakes goes Rolandson onto the outside right there as the new leader of the pack is Steven Ritters.
Yeah, Ritters really just sort of bided his time, but yeah, Ridgway looking really like he's struggling out there, to be frank. The front of his car not doing what he's commanding of it, but we'll see. Will he be able to sort of collect that car up, find some more grip, or is he just going to start dropping down the order? So far, Ridders hasn't managed to gap too much, but you know, whenever you get to the lead of a gaggle like this, you have to put in some of the best laps of your life sort of on the next lap, sort of almost to take the group by surprise and get yourself out of the danger zone of being, you know, in that slipstream range. And I have to say that once again, though, Ridgway just under pressure and not able to get the car turned in. So if there's anybody out there at the moment that looks like they're struggling on tyres, it certainly looks like it's the number 17. So watch out for him, because he might decide that he might want to come into the pits and get a change of tyres. And now is the perfect time. We're about halfway through the race, so you'll sort of get equal benefits. So yeah, well, we'll see what's going to happen. Actually, it was Ridder's turn that time to go a little bit wide, as that's from an Ely down the inside of Brewer. That looked like a fairly easy move.
Yeah, down to the inside at Dunlop corner, especially when you're closing on the car ahead. Sometimes they'll just have a car just let him out to the outside. But Ron Manili, easy move heading into the Dunlop corner, as this is Samuel Hermer in second place, pulling a gap to Faro in third, as 5.8 seconds to Tobias Olsen. And Tobias has been on fire all today right now, and if there's somebody not taking tires, it's going to be Tobias Olsen.
I mean, he could stop for a cup of tea at this point, have a little bit of a natter to his mechanics, and still come out comfortably in the lead. He's, you know, in a class of his own. And it's what we've sort of come to expect from Olsen. If any of our Apex Racing TV viewers have watched the other series, the ARA Formula 3s comes to mind, where he absolutely dominated a few seasons of that. So he knows how to drive these Formula 3 machineries, and he's absolutely clicking with the Fuji circuit. Somebody that's not as much, and I mean, you might be a bit surprised. It's
Herman clobbers the outside curves at Net's corner and gives up second place to Faro. He had a lapped car giving him the outside line. He gave him a little bit of space, but that's going to wreck his suspension. And I believe Herman has suspension damage and might have to go into the pit lane. And he is heading into the pit lane. Samuel Hermer picks up damage from second place after hitting the yellow curbs at Net's corner. Oh my gosh. As we look at a very daring move down to the inside, that's Adam Talsma. And side by side with Rolandson, they're having a little bit of fight, but Rolandson's going to have that advantage getting in the draft of Ridgway. They're side by side, 3 wide, as that is Jimenez on the outside. And Jimenez just clearing all 3 of them, getting the better run right now, and staying behind Rolandson, staying behind Ridgway. Jimenez up into P9th, as that is Talsma and Rolandson still side by side. You can see how much track that Rolandson's using, trying to get the speed on Adam Talsma. Talsma has cleared him right there, side by side fight. Stu Miller and James Louise side by side, and Stu goes down to the inside, and easy move for Stu.
Woods in another move at turn 1, certainly proving like the most popular overtaking spot so far. Actually want to fancy the outside at the chicane. Very quick thinking there from Sam Hermer. I don't think it was suspension damage that he would have picked up from that. It's just plain old raw damage. It's just He's damaged the the delicate underbody of the car where all the grip is made. That's Gabriel on Jimenez. Talisman's getting involved in this. Rolandson as well wants a piece of this action. They're side by side. We've seen drivers end up flipping. They all managed to make it through. Great driving, great awareness by everybody, but you can just see now, how as the drivers up ahead of the pack are starting to fight. It brings everybody back into contention. And yeah, you've got to be looking in your mirrors, looking forward, looking up, down, left and right. It gets very, very tricky from the cockpit. But just very quickly, I think Herm has done the right spot. He's come in, he's repaired his car, he's got some new tyres. They are going to have more grip than the rest of them out here. He's going to struggle on the first few laps as they come up to temperature, but I think Hermer could be in for some good points today, even with that mistake.
Yeah, Hermer just got to, hopefully it all goes for him. We saw the last time that Hermer took tires in the middle of the race was Interlagos of last season, as Tony Jimenez goes deep into the brake zone, and there's side-by-side switchback by Gabriel. Gabriel actually making contact with Tony right there. They're still side-by-side. Jimenez, though, at Coca-Cola Corner, holds him off right there, heading into 300R. Beautiful move by Tony Jimenez, and, keeping the elbows out definitely to keep that position.
While they're sort of squabbling over 8th place, that's allowing Talsma and Rolandson just to catch back up. And, they're in the danger zone where Talsma can considerably and quite reasonably stick it up the inside if Gabriel or Jimenez start fighting once more. Rolandson braking a little bit later into the chicane. Rolandson now showing that he has a little bit more pace in his car, and has he just bided his time, waited, just allowed the tyres to come in at their own pace to now push for the remaining 14 laps. We'll have to find out, but Rolandson looking strong. And up ahead, is that a lapped car? I don't think it is actually. That's Ridgway, who hasn't really managed to pull away from this pack. So if you are Robert Ridgway, I think you're going to have to start worrying about, being involved in this fight. And we saw how challenging that number 17 car was to drive a few laps ago. So yeah, we could have another car in this battle, which would be kind of crazy because I don't think I've ever seen so many cars in a battle.
They're bump drafting. They're bump drafting heading into turn 1. Tony Jimenez getting a good little push by Simon right there. Simon getting a little bit personal with Tony's diffuser right there, as Stu is side by side with James Luis. Luis down to the inside, but he locks up heading into turn 1. Stu on the switchback, and Stu and Luis are still side by side racing down to Coca-Cola Corner. And Stu's got the lead, and Stu has been given that position heading into Coca-Cola. He let the room down to the inside anyway, but that can just see, hey, you get the speed down the front straightaway, you gotta still apply the amount of brake pressure to avoid locking up. And right behind him, oh my gosh, I believe that was Simon Fessy, the last car in the 41. Yes, it is Fessy. Fessy went rocketing down to the inside, looking like he wanted to make a opportunistic move on a lapped car. Somebody who is not having a little bit of trouble at any time today is Tobias Olsen, who was 8.7 seconds in the lead after breaking free at the draft in lap 1 from fights behind him. Tobias Olsen has just been in another world, another galaxy, and honestly in another session. We're just looking at his private test session right now. He's not actually on the track, apparently.
Well, I'm not sure he's seen another Formula 3 car for quite some time. He might be getting a little bit concerned that everybody else is gone home, but...
Well, he's seen them in his rear-view mirrors.
For about half a lap, but while we're looking at Tobias Olsen, and we're in a little bit of a downtime, so all the battles just play themselves out, we're going to have a quick word from our sponsor at iGPFun. As I alluded to earlier, it's proud to announce their partnership with SRP pedals. SRP pedals are designed for the pro sim racers and professional drivers, improving your driving experience, increasing consistency in lap after lap, allowing you to brake later and obtain better control when accelerating out of the corners. Visit www.simracing-pro.com to see why SRP pedals should be the next addition to your racing rig.
SRP pedals, very fantastic. Glad to have them on board, supporting the iGPFun community. And I can tell you, everybody there is happy to have SRP on board as well. As this is Samuel Hermer sitting in 11th place on new tires. He's made up spots. Is he looking to make up another spot? Diving down to the inside, unable not to be there for him, but he is chasing down the 27 of Steven Ritter's, and those new tires is definitely going to be showing the pace of his car and control of his car compared to everybody else. And Samuel Hermer, after that incident, knocking him out in this corner. From second place, it's up ahead, Gabriel and Jimenez, and Jimenez locks up off the exit to avoid those yellow curves, and he is plummeting to the back of that group right there as Gabriel is being caught by Ridgeway and diving down to the inside. There goes Jimenez down to the inside. They're in that dirty side of the track. You can see all the dirt being kicked up right there. Not as much at the start of the race, but still enough right there as they are having a drag race. Heading into turn one, Jimenez goes a little bit later off the brakes. He's locked up again. Almost heading into Ridgeways. Everybody going kicked up right there as there is a lot of action going on and total craziness happening.
How did Rolinson not end up in the back of Jimenez? I will never know. It all started when Jimenez was absolutely committed under braking, a little bit too committed if you are Gabriel up ahead, but sorry, if you are Ridgeway up ahead. This Talisman now gets past Rolinson. Yeah, Robert Ridgeway just having to hang on to the back of Gabriel, but Gabriel's got absolutely mega pace at the moment. It's Sam Herman now trying to get past Ridders, can't do it around the outside of 100R. He's going to have to now try and...
Oh, no! No, Hermer, he tried the switchback right there, but he was already in there, he was already at his bumper. He was unable to do the switchback, and Samuel Hermer destroying not only his car, but his and Steven Ritter's car. Oh no, that is so unfortunate for Samuel Hermer, and oh no, Ritter's innocent part. Oh, Hermer just came in there like a bull to see in red. There was just a little bit missed braking point and massive collision at Dunlop corner.
Yeah, whenever an incident like that occurs, you always have to look at the driver behind sort of as fault for the incident. You know, these cars don't have brake lights, but yeah, Sam Hermer should have been aware, and yeah, disaster for Sam Hermer. Had good pace, made that mistake, put down the order, thought he could make his way back through the field, but simply just ended up having an incident with another car, and I think that's Sam Hermer's day well and truly done. That's the late move from the number 19 car through turn one, almost contact with, I think that's Barris, almost crashing into Barris, just getting away with it. And I think if you are Romanelli, sorry, that was the Zamotor. I am getting flustered and confused, but Romanelli very lucky to not end up in a collision. We've seen sort of silly accidents in turn one, and surprisingly we haven't seen more sort of flips it in turn one, to be honest, Austin, because you know it's got that sort of such big sort of difference in track height that you know it's sort of easy to just clip sort of a wheel and sort of somebody just to end up flipping over. So glad we haven't seen that so far. Is James Thrulis now having a look, being under attack from Stuart Mill. Mill needs to find a way past. Rolinson's galloping off in the, sorry, Ritters is galloping off in at the distance. And there, that Raphael, Munzer and Rolinson battle still going strong. But doesn't it seem, Austin, like everything's just calming down a little bit, like the calm before the storm?
Yeah, it does seem like everybody is kind of found that groove and stayed in there. We're closing in on 10 laps to go. And it is very tight right now with a few of these drivers, but they stopped going for these daredevil moves lap in, lap out, because they probably felt that the tires dying away. It's like, keep doing more of these, I'm going to be sliding off the circuit like the guy next to me. And I'm just probably going to be saving my moves for the straightaway or just waiting for that incident right now. But this is an absolute crazy race going on as Ridgeway is just hunting down Simon right now. The Italian leading out this fight for 7th place, and that field's getting pretty farly spread out. And I'm expecting a few moves expected to happen at Dunlop Corner, especially if you are Adam Talsma. Are we going to be seeing a Talsma dive down to the inside at Dunlop Corner? No, we are not, but look how much time that Simon has lost through Dunlop Corner. They had the lap car on the outside, as Ridgeway is just ebbing and flowing, getting closer with each corner right now. And it's all going to be about this exit if you are Gabriel. If he maximizes maximizes that exit speed, but you can see Ridgeway getting very aggressive on the entry, but loses out off the exit, but he's going to be getting that draft right now. And it's time to, well, pedal to the metal and let these Formula 3 cars fly as they defend all the way down to the pit wall right there. As, well, somehow it's actually off the track, off the white line, as Ridgeway gains all the speed he can go. And it goes onto the outside. They're having a drag race, but Simon holds it on there. And I can tell you why Simon's holding on. He's got a different wing calibration. The rear wing is much thinner than Robert Ridgeway, so he's got a much faster car in the straight line. But in the corners, he's, well, he's kind of like, he's kind of like an Alpine at Baku. It's all set up for the straightaways and not in the corners. But look, late opportunity by Jimenez, trying to disrupt the party right there. Jimenez trying to go down to the outside of Robert Ridgeway. Ridgeway's attacking on the car ahead, defending from the car behind, looking to the sky, and probably frustrated out of belief. But I can tell you, all these guys in this battle have a big smile on his face. Ridgeway under pressure by Jimenez. Jimenez looking onto the outside. Jimenez going late onto the brakes, trying to hold it around the outside at Dunlop corner. It's possible to do that. He's got his nose in right there. Ridgeway's going out wide. He's left the room right there by Jimenez. Here comes Townsend trying to look down to the inside right now. As these three cars fighting over each other, they're allowing Simon to run away with it and trying to leave that gap behind between these four cars.
Yeah, Ridgeway's gone from being on the offensive to very much on the defensive now, but Gabriel super wide through the final couple of corners. That's going to allow Ridgeway to gain on the straight once again. Romanelli getting past Stuart Mill, so Romanelli making his way up through the field. We're having a look at Tony Jimenez, the number 11 car in the wheel tracks of the number 17, but frustratingly for Jimenez, Ridgeway just getting a little bit of downforce, but Jimenez decides to go to the inside, gets the move done. And what I'm noticing is all of these drivers are running really high amounts of rear brake bias. And what I mean by that is that most of the rear of the car, the rear axle is doing most of the braking forces. You know, especially if you look at Robert Ridgeway or any of the drivers sort of in that battle, as soon as they hit the brakes, the rear end absolutely steps out. So that just goes to show how much they're struggling. As we see lots of people struggling through turn one once again, Austin.
Yeah, they're driving it like we do in the touring cars. The touring cars are running brake biases in the 30s in some of the cars. I know the Hyundai Veloster is running about 33% brake bias, but that really saves the front of the car's tires, and it is a very good way to use the car's brakes to actually turn in right there. It's just you gotta be very precise and know how the car reacts when you slam on the brakes, or else it's just like there's no grip at the front, there's no grip at the rear. You're probably going to be ending up smashing into somebody and looking like you got egg on your face after a big incident. And I know a few of these drivers are not having a good day. Luca Ferrani, we saw him get into an incident at the start of this race as he makes that move, defending from Ben Gayot in this battle for 20th. Matt Brewer in 22nd. They've been having a good day. They're up 10 spots from where they started, and behind them is Clark Williams. Clark Williams was also involved in an earlier incident. I think that was involving him with Gavin Petty, as this is Gale defending from Brewer. Brewer using that outside line, trying to gain the speed, but oh, he's messed that move up, and here comes Williams. Now they're having a drag race as here they go. Here comes Williams. Williams looking down to the inside, and he's just barely getting enough draft to get that speed, but he's not getting enough advantage because Gayot is getting the draft from the car ahead of him. Brewer's getting the draft from Gayot ahead of him, but oh, Matt Brewer almost gets into the back of Gayot right there. He's missed his braking point, and here comes Williams down to the inside.
It's a perfect sort of example of why it's really beneficial to have a car ahead of you, and then in an instant why it's really damaging to have a car ahead of you. And yeah, Brewer just getting all mixed up under braking, and that's just a barrage of cars on track. Look at Victor Barris, and so that's throughlis in Samota.
I think there were 4 wide coming out of that hairpin right there. I'm just lost for words. This is brilliant racing. Big lockup in the background. I believe that was James Deweese defending from Zolta Zomotor, Muhammad and Ritters right there, who are all over him. and I guess a lapped car, because that is Alistair Hay in that blue car at the very back of it, but it's an amazing fight, I gotta say.
Oh, I mean, it's what we've come to expect from the iGPFun series. 6 and a bit laps to go. Clark Williams, according to our timing screen, has had some form of off on the track. We'll keep an eye on that. Victor Barris, though, doing a great job at the moment. This is Clark Williams. Well, he's had some form of incident just as we go on board with him, and it doesn't look, yeah, look, his front wing is damaged. And let's see if we can have a little bit of a look. So that's the number 30 car up ahead. So that's Ben Piot. What's going to happen to Clark Williams? Down the inside he goes.
Oh, car just rotates around with him. It's kind of the same situation that we saw with Zoltan Zomotor. He had the lap car on this corner, and he just slapped on the brakes, and I think he just saw that he was going out a little bit wide. He might have tapped on the brakes, and because he had that steering angle already put in, the car with the low brake balance just kind of shot off to the right and unable to control it because he just tapped the brakes just a little bit to make sure that he's given enough space. So he was trying to be a sportsman right there, and he definitely was a sportsman. Unfortunately, it also cost him his front wing.
Yeah, I mean, it's not what we tend to see at the iGPFun sometimes, that, you know, people are so, and drivers are so wanting to sort of have fun it's in the name, and to have good racing, that, yeah, if you don't want to get involved in into an accident and cause somebody else for their race to be ruined, so you end up sort of doing actions that end up ruining your own race. But I guess it's sort of the better way around, rather than ruining else's race, because if anybody has done any form of iRacing, you know what an awful feeling it is knowing that you've made contacts and it was your fault, and you're, you know, lapping around. As Simone Gabriel so far off the track at turn 1, almost closer to Suzuka than he was to the apex of turn 1 at Fuji. Patrick Rowlands down the order, a lap down. He's gained 14 places, but I think we have to give a very quick shout out to Victor Barris. He is up 20 places from where he started. Incredible job by him. He currently takes the 14th spot on the grid. But yeah, our highest riser through the grid so far, but just behind him, James Drulis, 19 places, so it's all to play for in that little battle.
Yeah, it certainly is all to play for, as Patrick Rowlands in a drag race right now, and Jerome Langley has had an issue. He's fallen down to 4th place, and oh, that is damaged. I think we had our second incident of cars hitting the curbs as Jerome Langley heads into the pit lane, and I think this is the curbs on the very outside of the corner. Just slide off, and oh no, so unfortunate. So unfortunate for Jerome Langley. The back end was just rotating out, and he caught the car, and then the suspension came on, and I think it's crashed the car more in the pit lane. There's no tires on that thing.
It certainly looked like it, and yeah, he was trying to sort of spin his wheels up and go again, so not quite sure what's happening to Jerome Langley. His pit crew, it's like it's abandoned him, so I think that might be race done for Jerome Langley, which is just
if he can't get into the pit box, it definitely is race over.
Well, I think he was in his own pit. Oh, if anybody saw that, he's doing a little bit of donuts in the pit lane, which you don't tend to see, but it does sort of make for good iGPFun viewing. He's not in his pit box. But I mean, he was so unlucky with how, you know, he sort of caught or tried to catch the oversteer, applied that ever important opposite lock, hit the curve in the wrong way.
Veroni's loose on the brakes right there, and oh my gosh, loose on the brakes, locked on the brakes. This is an opportunity for Zoltan Zomotor. Zomotor looking down to the inside, headed to Coca-Cola corner. They're side by side, and Veroni holds it around to the outside, getting all the way onto the curves right there, as there are beautiful fight right now for 18th place between Zoltan Zomotor and Luca Veroni right now. And I can say, if you were on the edge and buying Fuji at the start of this week or start of the season, it is a track to definitely buy. This is amazing Formula 3 racing.
It's absolutely stunning, and I believe it will be stunning in any car, whether it's the Radicals or any of your favourite series. It will just be superb. It's such a good track, and I'm so pleased and thrilled that it's been added to the iRacing platform. I think some drivers won't be so thrilled though. Sam Hermer, Jerome Langley come to mind, Zoltan Zomotor as well. not having the race that we would have expected from him, down in 19th place, albeit up 2 positions from where he started. But Luca Varani as well, not having the race that he would have liked. I mean, we always see it in the iGPFun series. It's always a tale of 2 races. Some drivers manage to make up, 20 or so positions, have a really good race, and then, on the flip side, you've got drivers that, get involved in incidents or just make mistakes and drop through the order. So yeah, it's sort of 2 sets of drivers.
Bound for 16th up ahead. Ritters and Muhammad are going side by side. Muhammad locking up the brakes, and it's locking up at the exit. Ritters is right there onto the entry. They were side by side heading into turn 1, and I'm guessing Muhammad really hard onto the brakes really late, but really torching his front right tires right there. That's going to be making his car very unresponsive, especially through these next few corners.
Yeah, this is the real danger time now for the tyres. Don't tend to get any sort of puncture / sort of tyre delaminations in iRacing, but you will hit the cliff when you hit 0% or anywhere near to 0%. The tyres will just simply, it feels like, just turn off. It's like a switch, and off the grip goes, and you just cannot do anything. Graham Nicol out on track has had some form of incident. Robert Ridgway, now the 17 car. We've seen him struggling earlier on in the race with his front grip or lack thereof. How much rear brake bias has he got into that car, and how much tyre does he have to defend from Simone Gabriel as we head once again towards turn 1? Gabriel like a rocket on steroids, so much extra straight line speed over Robert Ridgway. Right.
You can see on how slow rotation that front right had for Robert Ridgway that it was just on the verge of locking up, and it was just like it was a combination of the brake pressure and the track fall off right there, that front right is just on a nice edge of either locking up or working towards the side, but it was just very slow rotating right there for Robert Ridgway. You can see how much he is struggling to keep that car alive and keep these tires alive in this 33-lap race around Fuji.
Formula One engineers out there, that was the definition of under rotation, as the Formula One teams like to call it. Just, yes, the tyre not delivering as much grip as well. That's very deep on the brake.
Mistake by Gabriel through Dunlop corner. They've hit the inside curb. They've gone out wide, and that's allowed Tasman to chase him down. They've gone wide again, and Simon just struggling to keep the car into the grips right now as they've had another slide. They've gone out wide 2 corners in a row, heading into Panasonic corner. This is definitely the opportunity for Adam Tasma, but Simon is just parked on the apex right there, and Tasma is going to be having the draft, and Tasma, he's got his teammate behind him, but his teammate, I believe, is multiple laps down, so he doesn't have to worry about the car behind him. But Tasma unable to catch the pace of Simon, as Simon's using that lower downforce as they are having a drag race down the straightaway, and Adam Tasma, all of his advantage is pretty much mute by that straightaway and the lower downforce that Simon's having. But Simon's just struggling with the car, and I don't think Simon's is going to be able to keep that position unless he drives that car and pretty much babies it around the circuit.
I think even if he does so, he's just simply got no grip from the tyres. This is Stuart Mill and James Thrulis battling it out towards turn 1. Stuart Mill looking down the inside, thinks better of it, but Thrulis goes deep. Lock up from the Brit, and we are on the white flag lap, Austin. So these drivers it looks like Mohamed Boualek has had some form of issue out on track, and that could be, I don't know, it's just the position behind these two, and that's Luca Varani up another position as we see.
It's Mohamed. There's Varani down to the inside of Coca-Cola, making that move absolutely sweet. But the thing is, they still have 2 laps to go. The white flag for Tobias Olsen, which is the car behind them, a few car lengths behind them, but they still have 2 laps to go. It's not the white flag for them, it's the white flag for Tobias Olsen right now. Everybody else still has 1 lap to go that hasn't crossed the line right now, and the people that still have to do 2 more laps are pretty much 10th place down, that are not a lap down.
It's crazy that we have to make that distinction. Has been the dominance shown by Tobias Olsen today. I mean, it's almost like that he's in a Formula 3.5 car. A little bit of a mistake, though, from Olsen. I mean, I don't think it will worry him too much. He could almost lose the wheel at this point and still come across the line in the lead.
Don't you dare even say that. I've seen races lost in the final corner, especially Indy 500s lost in the final corner, and they are heartbreaking, even if you have a massive lead. And that is not going to happen, as taking the first win here at Fuji International Speedway for the iGPFun Formula 3 Series, it is Tobias Olsen.
He made it across the line, Austin. He was so in control. I thought he was going to actually hit the inside wall. This is Giuseppe Lafaro across the line for a very well-deserved second place. Converted his great qualifying performance into a great finishing position. Will McIntyre Jones, after recently getting married, having the best honeymoon present he can wish for, a third place at 4 positions from where he started, survived the ever-crucial race and did exactly what he needed to. And Evan Way and Lucas Maruk both up some substantial positions. Evan Way up 4, Lucas Maruk up 7th place. That will appease his fans in the YouTube chat. Antonio Jimenez, after escaping that battle at 6th place, and then we have the absolutely relentless battle that these drivers have been in.
They're still battling.
Yeah, they are.
I think that's going to continue all the way into turn 1 between these guys, even after the race right there. Jimenez finishes in 6th, Ridgeway 7th, Gabriel in 8th place, Adam Talsma in 10th, Munzer in 9th, Munzer in 10th, Wilson and Romali in 12th place, Victor Barris all on his own right there. We still got some fights right now, but I think everybody's kind of done a handshake deal. This is the last fight that we are seeing. Varani defending from Blue Leg behind him, but it's Luca Varani taking 16th, and I feel like everybody has welcomed Fuji with open arms, because this was a certainly fun experience.
It was amazing. Absolutely adore Fuji, and yeah, I think you rightly pointed out, Austin, if anybody was on the fence, even before the race, I think it's an instant buy now for everybody on the circuit. I don't think I've ever spoken to anybody within the racing community that said that they don't enjoy Fuji in some shape or form. It's such an amazing track, and I'm gonna say this: once we get rain, it's going to be even better.
Hashtag soon.
Hashtag soon.
Here are your full race results. Tobias Olsen takes the win in a completely different county, ahead of Giuseppe Farah. Will McIntyre Jones on the newlywed finishes in 3rd, followed by Evan Way, Lucas Maruk, Tony Jimenez, Robert Ridgway, Simone Gabriel, Adam Tasman, Rafael Munzer, Darren Rollinson, Alessandro Romanelli, Victor Barris, James Louis, Stu Millen, Luca Ferrani, Mohamed Boalik, Zoltan Zomer, Stephen Ritters, Ben Gote, Matt Brewer, Patrick Rollins, Giovanni Soletto, Ben White, and Andy Flint, Simone Fessy, Matthew Gracie, Graham Nicole, and 28th, John McKenzie, Reed Dennis, Jerome Lamley, Clark Williams, Colin Nicole, Richard Van Veen, Samuel Hermert, Frankie Franchicha in 36th, Martin Devine, Yoris Bloom, Noel Richie Robinson, Gavin Petty, Alistair Hay, Dagan Ray, and Bartosz Grosecki. The last 2 did not take the start. 41 cars took to the start of this race and had an amazing time here at Fuji. Sebastian, any final words you have for us?
Wow, that was amazing. Can we have it again if the drivers are happy? All of it. Absolutely, thoroughly enjoyed
next week,
one.
Fuji. Next week, Fuji, just reversed.
I'm honestly, we don't even need to reverse it. Let's just Fuji every week, and I'm sure Luca Varani will be super happy with that. I mean, you didn't have the best race today.
I don't think a few of these drivers will like that. There is another layout of Fuji, but Fuji Reverse is not there. It's Fuji without that Dunlop chicane, which I'm pretty sure a few of these drivers would definitely enjoy, especially the one that did get into an incident right there. Yours Bloom would definitely be a big advocate for that one. But thank you, all of us, every one of you, for joining us here on Apex Racing TV, for watching this broadcast of the iGPFun Formula 3 Series presented by SRP. Here from Fuji Speedway, I've been joined by Sebastian Boscher-Williams and Mark Tranter in the production booth, and I'm Austin Knight, and I hope y'all have a good night.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.